Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to this another podcast, a very special podcast, I would say, of the Science of Mind Club, where we are meeting some of our coaches and mentors who have been inspirational to people and kind of contributing to them in many different ways. Today, we are fortunate to have Abraham join us on this podcast. Abraham is a dear friend of mine, and he's a hypnotherapist who is specializing in helping people out of their pain, out of their discomfort, out of their challenges. And more to that, he has a great philosophy which we are going to talk about in a few minutes about life. And that's very inspiring to me personally. And apart from that, something unique about Abraham is that he likes to conquer seas and oceans in his boat. And probably we'll also talk a bit more about that passion of yours, Abraham. So, Abraham, without further ado, a very warm welcome to our podcast, and we are so glad to welcome you on this.
Thank you, Anupam. I'm really excited to be here and join you on the Science of Mind Club. It seems like a really awesome concept that you have going, and I think it's really cool that you give other people the opportunity to introduce themselves and kind of explain different things and parts of therapy that got them into it and how they can help other people. I think it's really cool.
Absolutely. And especially, when we talk about mind sciences, people sometimes feel that, in life that they need some or the other inspiration, and mind sciences like psychology, neuro-linguistic programming, or be it mindfulness, they've been so very useful to, show people that path in some of their darkest hours or bad moments in life. And I wonder that, what was your inspiration of getting into this field of hypnotherapy?
That's a great question, where it all began. I would say that I've always kind of had a fascination with hypnotism, and first of all, because I didn't believe that it was even real. I thought that everyone was faking it, and I was like, how are they getting these paid actors? These guys are really good actors here. They're faking sleeping the whole time. I thought it was incredible acting, and that was kind of like how my mindset was. And then I just kind of my mother got sick with cancer, and she was in incredible pain, and no matter like what medication she was taking, it was not relieving her pain. And so I started just really deep diving into the control center of pain, which is the brain and the mind and perception. And it really brought me down a rabbit hole of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And immediately my first objective was chronic pain relief. That was like the only thing that I cared about, was like, how can I help my mom be relieved of this pain that she's experiencing? And I was only, when I first started it, it was like me reading like a madman, and then having no confidence at all. I was just like, gotta do this for my mom. And I was just going through scripts and going through chronic pain things with her, and completely nervous. I was still learning about how deep this could go, and she was able to achieve some relief with even despite all my lack of confidence in what I was doing. And I was like, okay, that's a good sign. We're going in the right direction. I need to learn more and be more confident. And unfortunately, she passed away within a couple months of me starting this. And there's nothing I can do about that. But it inspired me to want to be able to be helpful for people that are in these mindsets, and experiencing these things where you feel like there's no escape, and the mind is the greatest escape. So for me, it's just a really cool thing to have gotten into, and I'm inspired just by other people's ability with their minds to make reality is perception. So for me, that's just the most powerful thing. and that's why I'm like really into this.
Absolutely. That quite interestingly, when you mentioned that whole area of pain relief, and this is where we find that in modern science, people are experimenting with so many drugs and so many therapies which have very less way of kind of converting that pain into something completely resolved. But then on the other hand, we have these alternative sciences, alternative therapies like hypnotherapy, which have some really, really good results as well. So, I'm glad that you started by sharing your personal example. But I know you as a person, and you have always been finding your calling in the seas. So, what was there in hypnotherapy, apart from that pain relief? What kind of brought out that adventurous part of you? Because I know that there's this whole philosophy that you share about living your life in a certain way. So what were some of those experiences with, let's say, in your sea and the ocean experiences, and then how do you connect hypnotherapy with that, and where do you find that adventure and that calling?
Yeah, that's something that I really haven't thought about. Well, in regards of philosophy, how it can be connected, I truly believe that the thing about destiny is everything's predetermined, and that's kind of makes you think. It kind of puts you in this idea where, okay, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm supposed to be. And I've kind of battled that because in my philosophy, in my mind, anything is achievable. Anything that you put your mind to is something that can be done. If someone no one has ever done it before, you can find a way to make it happen. And that for me is just kind of goes to this whole sailing the ocean and my goal of circumnavigating around the world. It was just an idea that me and a good friend had over 10 years ago, and we were just thinking like that would be one of the craziest things ever, to sail around the world. And immediately we didn't talk about like, oh, what if all these dangerous things that could happen. Immediately our mindset was just set to, we're going to do this. And for me, connecting that to hypnotherapy, that's just kind of like the core of it, is a changed mindset, and where you're able to see clearly in your mind of, this is what I want and this is what I want to happen and this is going to happen. And it's hypnosis is you're concentrating, and so it's just such an easy thing to transfer what you want into hypnotherapy, just because if you want to be in hypnosis, you just concentrate and you're in it, and you can be receptive to what comes along. And that's exactly how it is for sailing around the world. You concentrate it, and then you make sure that it happens by positive affirmations with yourself, or you just have to keep reaffirming. And there's going to be challenges. There's always challenges, but that's what life is. Life is a challenge. It's a struggle from day one for survival. And here we are today. So obviously we accepted the challenge. So it's pretty much kind of smoothly goes into how I view sailing around the world. And honestly, challenging, but best decision, and I'm going to be very proud of myself when it's over.
Awesome. And for the viewers of this podcast, or even the listeners, Abraham has got a wonderful channel, a YouTube channel by the name WNC Bros. I think it has got some of those videos where he's definitely pushing the limits further. And I would say that where I seek inspiration from his sailing experiences, that, as he rightly mentioned, that it is about pushing the internal limits of your mind, and your external limits get pushed automatically. And that is how beautifully he also connected back to hypnosis. And I also remember, Abraham, like we both share a common interest of NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, where commonly they say that map is not the territory, and as our maps get enriched, we get a new awareness built in, our worlds expand. So I think you are doing both in terms of your sailing experience, or be it now as a hypnotherapist, you're helping people expand their horizons, expand their and helping them navigate to the oceans of their mind. I think that's quite wonderful. And thinking about that, you recently did a hypnotherapy session for like some sort of a masterclass. And curiously enough, you chosen the name, the title of it as Live Dangerously. So, can you talk a bit more about what is your idea behind that, or what was your thought behind that topic, Live Dangerously, and how we can get inspired from that?
Yeah, the name of it is Stay Dangerous, and that is something that my friend and I have said to each other just throughout the years. Just like we heard like when we leave the house when we were kids, and we would go out to play outside. Our mom would always say, "Hey, stay safe out there," and
Exactly.
and then we would just automatically just do dangerous things together, and we would try to challenge each other and do all kinds of stuff. And it's kind of like a mindset. Do you stay safe? What is staying safe? Does staying safe mean you're challenging yourself? Does that mean that you're doing the things that scare you? Does And to me it means that you say no. You're like, no, I'm going to stay safe in this world that I know, and I don't want anything to invade that safety. And for me, that's kind of like a mental decline. You're never progressing. You're never becoming a stronger, more resilient person. So we started saying "stay dangerous" to each other, because looking at life as an opportunity instead of just as you're told it what it is kind of like is my core philosophy of why we're doing this YouTube, of why we're sailing, of why we're doing all this. And so this hypnotherapy session was, I want to specialize in this. I want this to be my core niche, is just helping people expand their minds and do those things that they're scared of. Because from my experience, facing my fears has been the most liberating thing ever. I was raised in an environment where I was told to be scared of everything. And growing up, I was just very like, I had no confidence in myself. I was just always worried, like, oh, I was told that this is bad. I was told that this is bad. And so just kind of like turning my mind completely 180 degrees, you have to look out for what obviously you shouldn't do. Like things that are like, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot just because I want to stay dangerous. That's stupid. But things that make sense, that don't make sense, why I'm scared of, like, I don't know, talking to someone that I know I want to talk to, and then feeling that fear of, no, what if you get rejected? That's, to me, is just a fear that just doesn't make sense. And so I'd rather face that challenge, overcome it, and nothing. The worst thing that happens is you learn a lesson. That's it.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think there are some wonderful insights which you are already sharing. And in fact, I can definitely relate to what you're saying. Stay dangerous is where, a lot of times, even in our society, what happens is that people create this fake comfort zone around them, which kind of limits them. Many a times that life experience or that life learning, it is actually outside that comfort zone. And till the time they are just living in that false sense of comfort, safety, they'll not be able to explore life in its full form. So I think that's a great insight that you have shared, Abraham. So, talking about the insights, and let's say, even for that matter, the techniques that you have learned or the life lessons that you have gone through, are there people who you consider as your coaches or your role models, or maybe some of the experiences where you feel that life has been a kind of a teacher to you. Would you like to share that with our audience?
Um, for people that inspire me is just, oh man, it's just people that have just faced the most incredible challenges. Um, Anyone that's faced incredible adversity and fought through it to the very end to see their goal in front of them, what they imagined in their mind, how they saw the visual of it, and then they just went through all of the challenges until they saw exactly what their mind saw in front of them. Um, I'm inspired by that resilience. I have a lot of friends that are like that. They've had incredible challenges, and I really like to dig deep into where they get their strengths, because it helps me in with mine. Um, and Yeah, I think that uh, reading too. I from books. A lot of There's a lot of good authors that really just share really good insights on like kind of like life hacks on like they experienced it, they went through it, and how they were able to go through that. I really like people's stories. That really helps me.
Brilliant, brilliant. And is there a, talking about life hack, because these days we have a lot of our young viewers who are kind of struggling in a regular mundane office job, and sometimes there's a lot of stress. I don't know, how things are there in US, but definitely in India there is a lot of debate going on that how many hours a week is enough. like there were a few leaders who were saying that okay, one should work for 50 hours in a week, and then somebody came saying like 70 hours, and there's another leader from one of the biggest companies, he said they should really work 90 hours and Sundays included. But people are going through a lot of stress these days. And talking about life hacks, what do you feel are some of the ways in which they can bring that balance back into their life, and maybe something from hypnotherapy or from the life hacks that you have read? What would you like to share, some of the techniques that people can use?
Well, before we even get into techniques, I really believe that just the basic necessities of human life are the best therapies. Good diets, getting at least 20 minutes of physical exercise every day, getting sunlight, those things do incredible things for your whole body and how it deals with stress and lowering cortisol levels and just making you feel like your needs are met. Those are huge things that not just in India but here in the United States that it's just not really thought about. There's so many distractions that keeps you forgetting about the bare necessities of life, where how the human body is supposed to be functioning are completely ignored by so many distractions. And yes, in the United States, the work environment is basically focused on work all the time, and then maybe you get a couple weeks off a year from your job to get your recharge and be ready for another 44 or whatever weeks of work for the rest of the year. And even if that's the case, there's just getting the bare necessities for your body doesn't take that much time. And so getting to hypnotherapy, kind of just changing your mindset and having some meditation time to just reaffirm that your basic needs are important for your own happiness, is probably, if anyone could do one thing, it would just be to reaffirm that your health and happiness is the most important thing in your life. And once you have that, you're able to be available to other people. And that's if you want to be helpful to other people or be good at your job. If you're not happy with yourself, then you can't provide that energy and focus to other people. And so I just think that away from hypnotherapy, just focusing on your basic needs as a human being is got to be the most important thing, and it will change how you perceive life. It will change 100%. If you are ignoring your needs, you'll struggle to find enjoyment and the good things that life offers. You'll just be kind of angry and upset and stressed. So that's where I'm at, where focus on the basic needs, and hypnotherapy is just a good tool to help you like find concentration on giving those needs to yourself and knowing that you are important.
Great. I think that's a very valuable insight. And when we thought about that, in fact, while speaking, I realized that a lot of people, they're getting so away from this nature. Things like you mentioned, um, water, staying hydrated, and sunshine, all of that. I remember there's a friend of mine, and he brought this whole bottle of vitamin D. And I said that, wow, had I shown this vitamin D bottle to my dad, he would have said that, oh, why to take a supplement when you're getting it in the nature? And so many times we see these young people are getting into a trap of, let's say, a major pandemic that I have observed after COVID is this pandemic of obesity, where people are getting overweight. And there are so many fast food joints which are there all around, and people are consuming all those extra calories. And every Friday or every end of the month there is some or the other sale going on there. So when you look at somebody who has such an issue, let's say being overweight, what are some of the things that you kind of recommend these guys?
For people that are
Overweight, yeah.
For me, anything that has to do with change in your body comes from somewhere. And so for people that are overweight, I would focus my attention on where's that coming from. Some people have a feeling of lack in their life, so they view eating as like getting what things that they lack. It gives them that satisfaction, the feeling of being important enough that they can get what they want. And self-reflection to me has been my greatest ally in my life, being able to self-reflect and see where I'm lacking. And so for people that are like overweight, for people that are chronically stressed, for people that have addiction issues, I would say that a lot of those things come from within, where you're missing something, you're not getting something that you need as a human being. And so that's where I'd kind of focus my attention, is where in my life am I missing something, where I'm trying to find that fulfillment in things that are not healthy for me. And then once I recognize it, kind of moving forward with coming up with a plan of how can I get what I actually need, and not this false thing that's hurting me, because it's kind of like a paradox. You try to get that fulfillment of something that you want, which makes you not desirable to receive what you're looking for. Like someone that's overweight, maybe they're lacking love, and then all of a sudden they're obese, and then they feel disgusting, like now I really can't be loved. And it's just like such a paradox that really is it really is kind of like a mental illness, where you're convinced, and then you're screwing yourself over the whole time. So I view this self-reflection as probably the most powerful tool for anything in your life that's causing you harm.
Brilliant. That's a great sharing, and thank you for sharing all those insights, Abraham. And let's say if somebody would like to get coached or counseled from you, probably would like to just learn from you, what are the ways in which they can reach out to you?
Well, for now, I would say my email. My email is probably the best place for communication. You can put that in the description. My
Definitely,
email.
definitely.
That would be the best for setting up like Zoom calls or just going back and forth on email messages. I mean, I'm totally open to any type of communication. I don't, whatever I can do to help. I have no preference.
Great. And is there a follow-up to the last masterclass that you're planning? The one that you did was very well received on staying dangerous. And I know there was this elderly lady who showed up, and she also went back with a lot of enthusiasm. So, what are your future plans? What are some of the next things that you're planning in the coming masterclasses for hypnotherapy?
Well, I'd like to definitely continue with this the stay dangerous philosophy. Um, and so, I mean, I will continue to offer that class. Um, and for all the other aspects of ways that people need help, for sure, I can definitely help in other ways. But I'd like to focus on this staying dangerous just because it's something that's so close to me. It's something I really believe in. Um, and I will be in my emails and eventually a website be sharing those links to join in on Zoom calls. But for now, it would just be through communication through email.
Wonderful. And the format in which we have this interview, it's like a short format to appeal to the young listeners. So, we definitely would like to invite you back again on this podcast. But before we call it the day, before we wind things up, what is your final message to this community of learners who's so enthusiastic about these topics or related to science of mind? So, what are your messages, the final messages that you want to share?
My final message for the Science of Mind Club would be I think it's one of the, there's the universe, there's the ocean, and then there's the mind. And these are just places where we can just continue to explore and just completely be fascinated the further we go into it. And so I would say never put down a new book. There's always be searching, looking for more, finding more information, and applying different techniques to different people, because not the same thing works for everyone. And there's just so much information that is available and is still unknown. So it's just like a never-ending rabbit hole of just, wow, this is an incredible place to be, and it's an incredible place to explore and be a part of, because we're like explorers, we're like adventurers, and explore adventures that are just going on to this unknown place that's somewhere in here, that's existing for everyone. So, but we can't see it. So it's just such a cool thing to be a part of. And my encouragement and message is never stop learning. Live as if you're going to die tomorrow, and learn as if you're going to live forever.
Awesome. That's such a wonderful message, and I would say a lot of amazing insights that we have got from you, Abraham. And definitely that spirit of adventure is what you have also brought to learning, especially with the mind sciences. Learning has always been fun. I remember there's no dry day in learning, and always we are learning something good and becoming better than what we were a day before. On behalf of this community of learners, Abraham, I would like to thank you from the bottom of our heart, sharing your insights, your life lessons, your journey, as well as your expertise with all of us. And we wish you all the very best on this journey, or as a healer, as a hypnotherapist.
Thank you very much, Anupam, for this opportunity, and I look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.